Gator Nation and SEC fans, what is up, guys? Your boy's back on the channel. And last night we had one big SEC versus Pac-12 showdown. Game that got a lot of hype over the past couple of weeks. Not even just the months, but past couple of weeks, because potentially Cam Rising, will he play in this game, or will he have to be? Will he have to miss? And oh, by the way, he was out. So Bryson Barnes and Nate Johnson were both thrown into the mix, and it looks like what I was hearing before the game was Bryson Barnes was going to get the start, and that ended up being true. But Florida fans, man, what a tough game last night. First things first, Florida ended up with just 13 yards rushing on 21 attempts. ETN, unfortunately, had about 7 or 8 carries for 25 yards. That's about as good as it got for Florida. Not many. In fact, 0 rushes over 10 yards in this game. Wide receivers, I thought, played fine in the second half when you were down by 21 for the entire half. Maybe Utah let up a bit, but I thought Ricky Pearsall, other than that drop, which, to be honest, probably wasn't his fault anyway, we'll get to that in a second, played pretty much lights out. Odom played pretty well. Burke had a couple big catches. Caleb Douglas, how about that touchdown on a horrible throw on what supposedly was supposed to be a fade? Turned out to be him just jumping over the Utah defender, catching a huge touchdown. And Eugene Wilson, a true freshman, has a lot of talent for the Gators. Defensively, Florida gave up just 105 yards rushing and 165 yards passing. Under 300 yards, and you still lost this game by 13. Final score 24-11. Utah from the jump looked like they were just the better team. Now here's the thing. Florida defensively, like I said, played absolutely exceptional. Had one big busted coverage, which was the first play of the game for Utah's offense. Bryson Barnes sets back, throws a bomb to the slot wide receiver for Utah, and I'm not sure what happened. Miscommunication between Jason Marshall and, was it Kamari Wilson? I don't really remember. It was one of them two, or maybe it was Mitchell. But yeah, a huge miscommunication there. Led up an easy 70-yard touchdown. And that was pretty much Utah's passing offense right there and then. Now, they had 108 yards of passing offense in the first 2 possessions. They finished with 165, and they weren't able to run the ball. The problem in this game was Florida's offensive line. Well, there's multiple problems here. Let's start with Florida's offensive line. Absolutely terrible performance from the offensive line. Not even just the penalties, but the pass protection was pretty bad. The run blocking was horrible. And man, the lack of discipline for Florida's offensive line was really troubling, especially when not 1, not 2, but 3 huge times when it was 3rd down and 1 or 2, Florida's offensive line had false starts and cost Florida yardage. And man, 3rd downs, 1 of 13 on 3rd downs. The one that they actually picked up, I believe, was because of a penalty or something like that. Man, play calling was absolutely horrible in this game by Billy Napier and the offensive coordinator for Florida. Listen, if it's 3rd down and short, or even make it 3rd down and medium, you do not run a screen pass. I don't care what anybody says, especially with how bad and pathetic your offensive line is playing. And man, it's 4th and 14. The game is on the line. You run a wide receiver screen on an all-out blitz. Do the math. It's a cover 0. Just these things were head-scratching. Now, I predicted Florida to lose this game 24-20. I actually took the under, and I took Utah to win this game by 1-13. That was my bet. And boy, thank you, Billy Napier, for making me money and going for 2. But Man, I thought this would be a much better performance from Florida, much stronger effort offensively, and it just wasn't. Now, Graham Mertz finished 31 of 44, 333 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. He did not look horrible. He did not look bad, okay? I thought he played really well. This was actually one of his best performances in his entire career, and he still lost. This is going to be a tough year for Florida fans. Now, what else do I want to talk about? Oh, the last thing I want to talk about in this game was the fact that Florida had zero urgency offensively in the second half. Listen, your defense held Utah to just 48 yards in the second half. Your offense was slowly but surely moving the football. You would think Billy Napier would have some type of urgency down by 2 or 3 possessions heading into the fourth quarter. No, he goes on a 15-play, 75-yard drive in over 6 minutes to get that touchdown and 2-point conversion. Your defense gets a fast stop and then turns around offensively, goes on a 13-play, 59-yard drive, something like that, chewing up 6 minutes again. And then you call that horrible 4th and 14. Man, if I'm a Florida fan, I am really disappointed. Not even just disappointed. I'm worried about the future with the rest of this season. Now, here's the thing. Will Florida bounce back from this? I think they have potential to do it. Number one, the lack of discipline needs to stop. That's number one. But number two, offensive line needs to start playing better. Defensively, I can't really say anything bad about Florida's defense. I thought the scheme looked better than last year. I thought players were swarming to the football. I thought the pass rush may have been, maybe could have been a little bit better. But other than that, I thought Florida's defense played pretty well. It's the offensive line, offensive play calling, absolutely putrid. Needs to get better, obviously. You got Tennessee coming to Gainesville in 2 weeks. Can Florida win that game? Well, they have to fix a lot. Number one, we do have to see what Tennessee does tomorrow against Virginia. Virginia is absolutely horrible, just to be honest. And Virginia also lost their best player, believe it or not, for a couple weeks. He's their pass rusher, all ACC. Lost him. I'm not sure how much that's going to matter, but Tennessee's going to score points. I'm more thrilled to look at their defense. I think Tennessee has a underrated defensive line. Could be a sleeper pick in the SEC defensive line for Tennessee. Now, here's another positive note for Florida. Utah had one of the best defensive lines that you would see all season. The bad news is you still got to play Georgia, LSU, Florida State, Tennessee even. Maybe you throw in Missouri's defensive line, although Missouri looked pretty bad last night offensively. And whatever have you there. Utah is in that top 4 for defensive line and defense itself. But man, Florida needs to fix a lot on the offensive line, a lot on play calling. And other than that, it was just a huge disappointment and letdown for Florida. I know a lot of Florida fans thought that they were going to go into Salt Lake City and pull a major upset against Utah. The line kept fluctuating. At one point, it was at 9.5 points. I would sit here, if this was a week ago, I would tell you how bad of a bet that is, how much of a lock Florida plus 9.5 is. Game started at 4.5, went down 5 points in the betting, in the spread, in betting and Vegas world of things. That's a huge decrease. All right, Florida fans, let us know what you think about the game, and let us know about the future about Florida football. Listen, I think Florida has potential to maybe get to 6-7 wins. After last night's performance, there's a lot you have to fix, mainly on the offensive side. In fact, almost 100% on the offensive side. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.